Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, we are right in the middle of the conference finals, and it's been a wild one. It's been very hard to predict so far. We had our last episode, I believe, when each series was 1-0 for the Habs on one side and 1-0 for the Vegas Golden Knights. And now here we are recording this on the morning of the 26th, and Vegas has a stranglehold on the Avalanche somehow. They're up 3-0 after
Yeah.
Colorado blew a 3-0 lead in game 3, a must-win game 3. At least Carolina's brought it back. It's 2-1 in that series over there. Last night we got a great overtime. So that's been a close series. Let's start with the West. I want to start with the West because what the fuck is going on over here? Is Vegas this good, or is Colorado choking?
It's both. It definitely is a combination of both, and a lot of the stuff that we're probably going to say is going to be, negative stuff about Colorado, but I don't think it takes anything away from what Vegas has done. I mean, again, this Colorado team,
Right,
from, game 1 of the regular season all the way to the conference finals, was the most dominant team in the league. They were the team that no one wanted to play. Everybody's, kind of the consensus for most people, they're cup winner. And they're down 3-0. And, we talked about it before, and a lot of people are saying, well, McCarr's hurt, and now McKinnon's hurt. And it's like, and this Colorado team is still too good to be down 3-0. Even in the point where game 3 in Vegas, they were up 3-0 after the first period. And this was a Colorado team that was 52 wins, 0 losses, all season and playoffs when having a multi-goal lead. And then Vegas comes out period 2 and
multi-goal is
and they
two or
put
more.
up 5 unanswered. Yeah.
Anytime they had a 2-goal lead, they never lost all season. And in the most important game of the season for them, they had a 3-goal lead and blew it.
Yeah.
That's just unacceptable for them. And now their backs against the wall. It is the Avs. If they flip that switch, they could pull it back. But, any year a team like the St. Louis Blues could show up and win the cup. It just doesn't happen very often. You almost never see reverse sweeps. As fun as they are, it's just so difficult. So,
yeah, and I mean, again, Colorado's definitely not been the Colorado team. I mean, this is a team that's supposed to have this insane depth, this insane blue line, and they're just not getting the results now. Is it a combination of multiple things? Is it like who knows? Because this is a team that should not be down 3-0. And one of my bold predictions, and it's already wrong, but one of my bold predictions going into the playoffs when we did that episode was, and again, it's already wrong, but I said that there would only be one sweep in the entirety of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it would be in the Western Conference Finals, but I thought it'd be whoever came out of the Central sweeping whoever came out of the Pacific. There's a very good chance I get that half right, that there is a sweep, just the complete wrong way. That
it's probably the team you assumed would be doing the sweeping getting swept.
Yeah. And this is also a Pacific division that, we dogged on them all season. A lot of people did. If Vegas wins this, that's 4 years in a row that the team to come out of the West is from the Pacific division. And now, granted, it would only be between 2 teams, Edmonton and Vegas, but as good as the Central's been, as much as we hype them up, they can't get the job done to get to the Cup final. And I think we're seeing that again this year.
Maybe that's because every team that comes out of the Pacific, in round one, who are you beating? A lot of the time, it's the LA Kings, or it's a very young Anaheim Ducks team. Like they're not having to go through the Stars and the Wild and teams like that as often.
Hmm.
Maybe it's the Central cannibalizing themselves a little bit in that way, but at the same time, yeah, you gotta you gotta win. You gotta win, and the teams out of the Pacific are doing that, and the Central hasn't been able to.
Hasn't been.
Um, there's some people being like, "Damn!" Like I knew all year Vegas was going to be this good, and like there's so few people I believe on that, right?
Hmm.
Um, just because they were never this team until like game, what was it, 75, when they got
Yeah,
Tortorella. They completely turned around when they got him in, and they
they're
got that new
eighteen
coach
four and
boost, and
one
they've like
with Tortorella.
that's ridiculous. Like that's so good, and then they got William Karlsson back. That injury was brutal for them. Like they've they've just hit another
Howden,
level.
a guy that they normally don't rely on to score goals, like he's got 10 in the playoffs already. Mitch Marner, who was kind of labeled as a playoff choker, throughout his years in Toronto, is a playoff stud. The question surrounding, Vegas has no goaltending. They didn't have goaltending all regular season. They're finally getting goaltending. Like it's everything that, you know, we kind of didn't think would happen or didn't have faith in. Yeah, completely turned around. And a big part of it is, yeah, the hiring of John Tortorella, and has just completely turned this team around. And again, not only beating the Colorado Avalanche, but like beating them
Manhandling them.
pretty, yeah, like,
Like they have to be the cup
yeah,
favorites right now, right?
absolutely, yeah,
Like not only are they at the moment the most likely to move on from this round, but they're beating the shit out of the team we all thought was gonna win. Like it's
yeah,
not having Makar for games 1 and 2 is brutal. That's a player you cannot replace. But he can't be a player that when you lose him, you basically also are losing Devon Taves, because now he
yeah,
has no idea what to do without him, right? Like,
yeah.
you need guys to be able to step up, and even if they can't be that guy, they need to be able to shoulder some of the burden. And
Hmm.
oh, they just have not been able to. I'm trying to find some of the more specific game stats. Um,
Like like we mentioned with Devon Taves, like can Devon Taves be a good defenseman without Makar? Yeah, sure. Um, in the regular season, we've seen it now in the playoffs here, and wasn't the Olympics, but the Four Nations when Makar missed a bit of time, and again, Taves didn't look great. Like yeah, it's kind of tough when you've got a guy that you relied on as a, you view him as a top pair defenseman, but in those games that matter the most, he's only a top pair defenseman if his partner's there. And yeah, it just makes it that much tougher because that's a pair that, eats a lot of minutes. And if you can't have them eating a lot of minutes, that hurts. Again, they still got other good defensemen, but it's tough to win a cup when you don't have your top guys that you can lean on when you need to. And
Absolutely.
that's some Colorado's going through. Again, it's a team of insane depth, but even the depth is, not doing awful in terms of offensive production, but they're struggling against Vegas still, though. Vegas is still able to push on them just as much, if not more. And again, yeah, it just goes back to that. You're up 3-0 in game three. You should be able to hold on to that. And even if you only win that game, 3-2 or something, sure. But to allow Vegas, 5 unanswered goals, and it's just
In a do or
unacceptable on a Colorado
die
standpoint.
game, like they have to
Yeah,
know that that's their playoffs. Like you can't expect to be able to rattle off 4 in a row after dropping 3 to a team.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a team that has reasons to be confident, but how could you be after the way the series has gone so far? Blowing that lead, in Game 3. Like it's just that's got to
Even
be it for them until they
even
prove
game
us wrong.
two, even game two, Ross Colton gets that goal in the first, and they hang on until about halfway through the third period on a one nothing lead, and then in the span of 2 minutes, Vegas gets two quick ones, and then Colorado wasn't able to answer there. Just as easily could have been a 1-1 series going into Vegas, and then it's like, oh, now you get Makar back, and things are totally different. But
We know we're not getting Makar back at full health.
yeah, no. Even if he plays tonight, because again, game 4 will be tonight, he's not going to be at 100%. McKinnon not going to be at 100%. You need your Nichushkins, your Natuses, your Landeskog's, your Devontae's. Like, you need those guys to step up. Even a Nazem Kadri, he's a guy that for the last 3 years he was a superstar in Calgary and kind of the face of that franchise. And now when you look at him, it's like he's a depth piece on this Colorado team. Still a great player, but when you view him, he's more of a depth piece for them.
Yeah.
You need those guys to show up. You need them to take over. Like Nazem Kadri can take over a game. Brock Nelson can take over a game. We've seen them do it before. If they don't do it now, then when?
It can't be Nate Dogg every game. Like he's not the reason. Like they're not the Edmonton Oilers. They don't just have that one great player, those two great players. They have a bunch of them. That's why they've been so good. And just throughout it hasn't been great. And
it really hasn't. It's been.
I got the box score up for game 2 specifically. I'm just gonna double check, make sure I'm looking at the right game. Game 2. Who do you know who had the most shots on the Avalanche in game 2? They had 5 shots on goal. It was not Nathan McKinnon. It was Brent Burns. He had 5 shots. So Cale Makar was out for that game, so he kind of took over a lot of that offensive role. Kind of makes sense, right? He was the only guy with 5 shots. Nobody on the team had 4 shots. And then there was a couple of guys who had 3 shots. Nathan McKinnon had 1 shot in game 2. Like, obviously, game 3 was massive. It was massive because they lost game 2. Game 2, that's a must-win game. You already lost game 1. You'd be going down 0-2 heading into Vegas, which ended up happening. And Makar's out, so McKinnon has to deal with all that weight on his shoulders, and a -1, 1 shot on goal. He didn't even get 2 on net. Like, I've seen this guy plenty of times. I've tuned into games in the regular season, and he just decides, I really want to win this game on my own, and he just does that, and he has, 10 or 11 shots in a game. Like, he's one of those guys that can, Ovechkin style, rack up shots like crazy. And we're not even seeing that from him here in these playoffs at this point. He's definitely still trying out there. You can definitely see it. He doesn't quite look himself. And we do know that he has a lower body injury now because he took a nasty shot block in game 3. Oh.
Yeah. I just pulled up.
I've been talking about how impossible it looks the past several episodes for this Avs team to lose, because the way they were winning, especially they beat Minnesota in 5. Man, that's a insanely good team to beat that dominantly.
Yeah,
and it's just one of those things about hockey. Just the conference final starts and the magic's just all of a sudden gone.
Yeah. When I look at this team, I mean, Brock Nelson was a 30 goal guy this year in the playoffs. 12 games played, 2 goals, 1 assist. Nichushkin, who's been a playoff stud, in years prior for the Avs. 12 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists. Marty Necas even, he's a point per game, 12 and 12, but only 1 goal. These are guys that you rely on a lot for goal scoring throughout the regular season, and once it's playoff time, they're not getting it done. McKinnon has 7 in 12. That's you you can't really ask for much more, given that he is 15 points in 12 games, but you would kind of hope it is a tad more. Landeskog, I mean, that's fine. You're getting 5 and 5 for 10 points and 12 out of him.
Sure.
That's fine. Kadri at 3 and 5 for 8 points in 12 games. You probably want a couple more goals out of Kadri.
I was gonna say they are playing him on the third line, but
he's on the top power play, though.
They're not expecting third liner production from him. They brought in a first liner to put a fringe first liner, sure. But still, the numbers he was putting up in Calgary, and you're on the top power play unit in Colorado, you gotta put up more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really just and again, we're dogging on Colorado a lot. There are good things within their game. And it's not to take anything away from Vegas. I mean, Vegas is just getting production throughout the entire lineup. They can just roll their lines, and they pretty much, it looks like they feel comfortable with whatever matchup it is, because they've all bought into what Tortorella's brought for them and the system that they've put in place. And again, it's just been working just tremendously for them. They went they 5 wins in a row, taking those last 2 against Anaheim, and then you go out there and you roll over the Avs and take a 3-0 lead in a series that, yeah, probably few people pick Vegas, but majority of people were picking Colorado.
Yeah.
And again, could Colorado pull off a reverse sweep? Yeah, it's possible. Are they? I'm gonna say no. It's maybe they can take it to 5 or 6 games.
I would be shocked if they did.
I just don't see this Vegas team losing 4 in a row now. It's just with what something insane would have to happen. Whether it's an injury or whatever. To
frankly, it feels like a scenario that team. Both would have to happen. It would Marner would have to go down with an injury, and they would have to blow a multi-goal lead, and all their momentum and mojo would be gone, and a big injury. It would have to be catastrophic. And
yeah.
I'm just basically describing what's happened to the Avalanche over the past 3 games.
And if you're the Avalanche and you're praying for that to happen to give you a chance, you're not the better team then, and you're probably still not going to win. If you're having to rely on injuries and Vegas fucking up to lose momentum, you're probably still not going to win.
Yeah, you don't generally win the cup by hoping the other team blows it.
Yeah, right.
Usually, you gotta carve your own destiny, and they just aren't doing it.
Also, shout out Brent Burns. He's a +9 in the playoffs. Top of the Avs.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm even because on Twitter, the amount of people I'm starting to see being because now that Vegas is up 3-0, obviously, and everything surrounding them, from the the treatment of players there, treatment of staff, the whole Carter Hart thing, the Tortorella hiring and firing Bruce Cassidy, and then the media stuff. A lot of people are just starting to be they're like, man, I wish just Florida was still in to just run over Vegas in the finals or something. And it's there's teams that just buy into the whatever you want to call it, the villain, and Vegas has done that, and there's a very good chance it gets them another cup, and that'll be 2 cups in 4 years.
And what a dog shit timeline, huh? Vegas, Florida, Vegas. Fuck off.
Yeah.
What a bad timeline.
These teams are showing that you got to be ruthless. You got to just not care what people think about you. You just go out there and do whatever puts you in the best position to win. And I mean, people can hate on Florida and Vegas all they want. Like, that's totally fine. I just kind of sit back and I'm like, again, like, as a Sharks fan, do I like the Vegas Golden Knights? No. Am I even going to be a slightest bit happy because they win because Hurdle's on there? Probably not. Well, maybe like a tad, but
You can be
not
happy for
really.
Hurdle without the team. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just have to sit back and I just gotta say it's fucking impressive. You know what? At the end of the
If
day,
you
I would
asked,
rather have everybody be like, "Oh, the San Jose Sharks are the scummiest organization. I hate them." But if I'm sitting there watching them win multiple cups, I don't give a shit. If I get to see my team win, I mean, it's and maybe not to the certain, maybe more on the Florida degree of because Florida was more on ice stuff, whereas Vegas is more off ice stuff.
right.
Um, so kind of more in the Florida category. But you just have to applaud these teams and be like, you know what, they just don't give a shit. And Vegas has had that I don't give a shit attitude, and they're fucking throttling an Avs team that on paper is the one of the
Best team in
best
the
teams
league.
we've ever seen put together. Like it's
Yeah.
just dominating them. It's just impressive. I hate it, but
If
it's
you were
impressive.
to ask every team in the league right now, like for this season, even just this season alone,
Mm.
are you willing to do anything it takes to win? You're getting at least 10 teams. At minimum, you're getting 10 teams that say yes. If you asked like the presidents of those teams, the GMs, just higher ups in the org, there are so many teams that would say yes. Teams like the Dallas Stars, I bet they would say yes. We're willing to do whatever it takes. The Minnesota Wild, the Avalanche, uh, you know, the Lightning, the Hurricanes, all these
Bruins,
competitive teams.
even the Red Wings, even like
Sure.
teams that are just outside the playoffs that don't even get in, like would do anything. Yeah,
And they'll sit there and they'll say, we're willing to do anything. The only team that's shown that they are willing to do anything to win is the Vegas Golden Knights.
is Vegas, and not even Florida.
Ev-
Even
Everyone
like
says
Florida,
we're
that's
willing
on the
to do
players more.
whatever it takes. Um, but the media is it's going to be messy if we sign Carter Hart. Like, and Vegas, we don't give a fuck. We want to win, and we think he could help us do that, and they sign him anyway.
Yeah,
Like, Marc-Andre Fleury won the Vezina for them, and they kicked his ass out the door, and we all went, "What the fuck?" They win a cup the year later. Like,
yeah.
they they are truly willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to win, and like,
Win. Yeah,
I do not like that franchise. I despise them. I think most people do, but
you gotta
they
tip your
they
cap
ain't
to them
lying
and be
about
like,
that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
are willing to do what it takes to win.
And it's not like they act like they're
They fired Bruce
these
Cassidy
big
going
guys in
into the
the
playoffs. He's one of the
yeah,
best
like they don't
coaches
act
in the
like
league.
they're saints. Like they fully acknowledge that, like, yeah, everybody hates us, but we're winning.
Yeah.
That's in again, yeah, like I totally get why everybody hates them, and I obviously I'm not a Vegas fan, but again, you just tip your cap and be like, fuck. I mean, good on you guys for just not giving a shit, and a lot of people kind of had you guys written off going into the playoffs, and
Yep.
by tonight they could be in the Stanley Cup final.
And there's even
It's insane.
ways, even if you're not doing stuff like signing guys like Carter Hart and stuff like that, there are still more things you could do to be similar to Vegas and in their approach and not do that stuff. You don't have to be doing stuff like that, but you could still every single March they are in on the biggest names.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they have no cap space. They'll fucking find it.
We'll find a way. They have no
We'll
loyalty to
find it.
their prospects. Like, you get drafted by Vegas, there's I mean, if you're a first round pick by the Vegas Golden Knights, there's a 90% chance you're traded within 2 years, within a year.
Yeah.
That's they've just been all in since day one, and I mean, yeah, within their first 10 years in the league, they might have 2 Stanley Cups.
Just ridiculous. But
Just and it's a lot of good talent there. It's guys are willing to buy in, and it's not easy to fire
mhm.
your coach near the end of the regular season, bring in a new coach, and immediately everybody kind of turns it around and buys into the same game plan and is all back on the same page, because it was a team that looked very disjointed for a while throughout the regular season, through the highs and the lows. And you know it's easy to sit back for people and say, well, it's always that new coach bump, but yeah, but it wears off eventually, right?
well,
Look at Columbus. It
sure,
eventually
new
wears off,
coach
but for
bump.
Vegas, it
Usually it doesn't work in the playoffs. If it
yeah.
did, every year we'd see teams firing their coach and hiring a new guy on April
Yeah.
1st. Like,
Hmm.
do you think there's a world where this starts a little bit of a trend like that? Like, maybe not like
Maybe.
several teams doing it, but do you think maybe we see one team next year
I think
fire
if it's a
that's in the
team
playoffs?
that's already knows they're going to be in the playoffs, but they're really struggling down the stretch, and the team just looks so bad. Absolutely, yeah. But there's also got to be like the right coach out there, right? Like I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah. It's
they,
not just to get a new coach. There would have to be
yeah.
the right guy there.
And like Tortorella was the perfect fit for this Vegas team.
Every
Like,
time he shows up somewhere, it's so good for the first while. So, like, yeah, it makes tons of sense um, that they went with him, especially as
but
a
man,
defense first team.
yeah, I don't even have anything else to really say on this series.
Colorado, give us something to talk about, please.
Yeah, just give us something. At least make this entertaining. Like it'd be just so disappointing to see this team steamroll the regular season, steamroll the playoffs, and get bounced in four. And again, like people say, Makar injury, McKinnon. These other guys need to step up. That's just the reality of it. At the end of the day, you need some guys to step up and
Has Brock
be
Nelson
heroes.
scored any goals lately? Has he been doing stuff?
He's got 2 goals in the playoffs.
Like he said, I feel like I haven't heard his name hardly at all. Like for a guy who went to the Olympics and is a Selke nominee, it's
His
been pretty
last goal
quiet.
was game
Not to call
4
him out
against the
specifically,
Wild.
but
So he's gone 4 games in a row now without a point.
without a
And in
point,
those 4 games, he's a minus 4.
I think that's pretty close to what Natchez is as well. I think he had an assist last game, but before that, no points against the Golden Knights. Couple
Nate
dash
just
twos
had
in there.
two assists in both of the final games against the Wild. Um, and then yeah, games 1 and 2 had no points and was a combined -4. Still a +5 in the playoffs, but +9 would look a whole lot better. Um, yeah, I mean,
He'd be
really,
up there with
Colorado
Brent
just
Burns.
needs everybody. Yeah, needs everybody to step up tonight. You can't just rely on 1 or 2 players. It's a team that's been by committee all season, to the point you had guys on your fourth line potting 20 goals. Parker Kelly. Vegas is going to be bringing it. They're going to be at home. They're going to be feeling good. They're obviously the healthier team. This really is time to prove what Colorado's made of.
They won't even be at home for this game 4, will they? They'll be still in Vegas.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Vegas is like at home and feeling good.
Oh, okay.
Like Vegas is already riding all the momentum.
You're
They're
right.
at home. They're healthier. Everything is in their favor to win. So let's see if Colorado can pull off a.
I mean, how do you not feel yourself after taking this insane Avs team? Like, even just after taking both games in Colorado, but a 5-goal comeback when you were down by 3, like beating
Yeah,
up on them, like they got to be feeling like they could do anything. Like
yeah.
I'm already looking ahead at Vegas versus who from the East. Like,
Well, should we dive over on into the East?
might as well.
Might as well. So the last episode we did, Montreal kind of dominated game 1 and took a 1-0 series lead over Carolina. And the Carolina Hurricanes have since rattled off back-to-back overtime wins. 3-2 in both those games.
We know
I
they
mean,
can
it's
win those close games.
yeah, but it's not only even like Carolina won both games 3-2 in overtime. It's like, oh, so close games. It's like Carolina was the better team
Better
in,
team.
in both games, and I'm not going to say it's not particularly close, but like by a
I'll say,
decent bit, Carolina was the better team, especially in game 3.
yeah. Yeah, like I'm trying to find the specific some of the more specific stats, but like yeah, Montreal went 24 minutes straight last night to finish the game without a shot on goal. They lost the game. Carolina won it 14 minutes and 4 seconds into overtime. Montreal's last shot of the game was with 9 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in the third period.
Yeah,
And then after that, 24 straight minutes, and then they lose the game. Like, how are you supposed to win if you don't take a shot for 25 minutes in a row? Like
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
exactly. Right? Like you
And
don't.
and the refs were even helping them out a little bit. I mean, obviously that's a simplification of a much more complicated overall game, but in that overtime, that's got to be the worst non-call on a too many men I've ever seen. Sometimes the guys are out there for a bit longer and it's like, he should have called that, but it didn't affect anything, whatever. 6 guys on the ice. Guy jumped on for Lane Hudson. Lane Hudson, not only does the puck hit him, he purposefully slowed up to kick the puck so that it would go to his defenseman guy who was just jumping on the ice. He was the 6th man on. So he's the extra guy. He purposefully kicked it to the other extra guy to stop it from going past him and going to the Hurricanes defenseman. So like he interrupted the play purposefully to gain possession and to gain possession to the extra player. It's like all the hallmarks of the easiest too many men call in the world, and the refs just it's not like they missed it. They were just it's overtime in the conference finals and we don't want to affect the outcome of the game. And they
And
didn't
that's
call it.
exactly where the whole talk of like experience comes into play. This is a Carolina team that, you know, has gone to the conference finals numerous times, right? And this team has consistently been a contender in the playoffs. And people usually
Yep.
go cold on them eventually, but going into the playoffs every year, people are like, this is the year for them. They recognized that the whistles were put away in overtime. They recognized that the refs did not want to control this game in any way, and they wanted to let the players get it done. Carolina recognized that, used that to their advantage. Montreal did not. And that was my biggest takeaway from it. And that's why when we talk about experience is huge. Carolina recognized that almost immediately. And, even the trip on Lane Hudson. And I think Lane Hudson's kind of going through that Matt Barzal phase in his younger years where a lot of diving, a lot of looking at the ref to the point where the refs are never
Yep.
going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Barzal went through that for years. I think it's kind of happening with Hudson a bit, but even the Carrier elbow, he went in to hit Lane Hudson and threw an elbow right up at his head. Carolina recognizes that refs ain't going to call shit. And Montreal just didn't seem to recognize that yet. They were still playing like we can't take a penalty, but it's like you weren't going to get one. They weren't going to call anything
Yep.
unless it's a delay of game. Like one like by the rule book, the refs have to call. And
That's what I was thinking, but honestly, how bad that too many men penalty is, if somebody airmailed it out of the zone, like I wouldn't like that was so blatant that they didn't call that. I wouldn't be shocked if a guy blatantly threw it out of the
oh,
zone
sure.
and they just lied and said deflected, probably drop the
Yeah,
puck. Like honestly,
not
it feels like anything short of a gloved punch that like downs a player, like and
mhm.
and now you're getting 2 for roughing. Like they're not giving out
Yeah.
the big ones either. Like they did not
It's
want to,
huge.
and
And I respect that from the refs. Honestly, like I know people will bitch about the refs and be like, you gotta be consistent. the refs want to make it so at the end of the day, it's the better team won. And you know what? I can respect that. If I'm a, if you're a fan of Carolina or Montreal and you're not happy about some missed calls, that's fine. I understand that. But as a neutral fan, I'm kind of glad the refs just said we don't want to call a penalty that maybe isn't a penalty or whatever, and dictate the way that this series goes. Because again, it's a very pivotal game when the series is tied up 1-1. Yeah, but even aside from that, it's just when you look at the last two games, like Carolina in games 2 and 3 out hit Montreal 83-47 and outshot them in these two games. Again, these are the shot totals between two
Which
games
game
that
was
went
that?
to overtime. It was combined between both games.
Oh, okay. I was like, holy shit, 83?
Yeah, no. And then the shots combined between games 2 and 3, 64-25. Montreal's 25 shots in the last two games. Both games that went to overtime.
12 shots in game 2, 13 in game 3. And then the Canes had 26 and 38. The fact that they both went to overtime is a testament to how good the luck has been for Montreal's side, or
Good
their
goaltending and
shooting
good
has
luck.
just been great. Like,
It's
whatever you want to call it, they're getting dominated on the
yeah.
shot counter, doubled up in game 2 and tripled up, one shot shy of getting tripled on shots in game 3. Uh Man, that's just ridiculous.
It almost
That's
kind of feels like
and that's kind of what I figured with Montreal. Like this, I was so
it kind of feels
shocked
like their
that
luck's
the
running
Canes
out.
got. It feels like it, right?
Like,
And
how many shots did they have in that game 7 against Tampa? 9?
I think it was 9. I don't think they hit double
9.
digits.
Game 7
And
against
both goals
Buffalo.
weren't a shot on goal. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. And
Both game 7 against Buffalo, they were outshot 39-25. And that was a game that also went to overtime. Like it kind of just feels
39.
like Montreal's been having a lot of luck on their side. And again, like still a very good team, not taking anything away from
Oh
them,
yeah,
but
it's
a
hockey.
team
You
that's
make your own
had
luck.
a lot of luck on their side, and it kind of feels like that luck is starting to run out.
And Carolina's the kind of team that takes away your luck. Like the way they
Yeah.
play like this, I was so shocked when they just got dumpstered game 1, frankly, by the Habs. But this games 2 and 3, not exactly the goal totals at the end, but the hit counter, the shot counter. That's what I was expecting from a Canes Habs series. When I was saying that I feel like Buffalo would be a better matchup because they can stand up to them physically more, and the Habs are so run and gun and get a lot of rush offense, and the Canes specialize in shutting that down. And 12 shots, 13 shots, back-to-back games in the conference finals. That's
The
incredible
forecheck is
defensive work.
just, and then even on top of the defensive game of Carolina, the forecheck and just wearing down Montreal to the point where Lane Hudson, there's not a single Carolina player even around him to hit him in overtime, and he gives it away. And he just tosses it right through the middle, weak pass, gets picked off. Carolina goes in and then ends up scoring. And it's like to the
Who
point
did
where
that pass remind you of, though? Did it give you a thought? Because I immediately had a thought.
I don't think so.
Definitely not this year, but that sure had shades of Toronto Maple Leafs, Mitch Marner. Just like circa
Yeah.
2020, 2021 Mitch Marner. There's not a lot of pressure, but it's just a floaty pass up the middle that wasn't really going anywhere.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the other team comes in and, well, now it's a big player that made the turnover, so it feels like destiny's all of a sudden on the other team's stick. Bang, bang, it's in the net.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No,
it,
it's actually a good point. And it's
and like Lane
it's just
Hudson's an
unacceptable
incredible
from
player.
your,
We all know that. But
yeah, but you
he
can't be
got
making those
away with the too
mistakes.
many men penalty, and then he makes that mistake
Yeah.
2-3 minutes later. Like, it wasn't much longer. So
Yeah, it just goes back to that relentless forecheck of Carolina from opening puck drop until the game's over, of just wearing down the defense over and over again to the point where they make those mistakes. You don't even have to force them to make them, and they just get to the point where they're making them themselves because they
Yeah.
don't want to get hit again. They don't want you, running them over and whatnot. And again, just for me, it would, because realistically, my least favorite team. I'm sorry to these fans, but also not really. My least favorite team in the West and the East is probably Vegas, Carolina. And so like that
Carolina is your
like
least favorite team in the East?
I think so. Yeah. Um, but again, like it's not really like I actively like hate anyone in the East, right? It's
Do you have
um
any real reasons why? I mean, Vegas speaks for
just
itself, right? But
I think it's a lot of the a lot of the online antics and a lot from actually like their social media admin um
their social media is pretty unhinged. They're
and
pretty
also
crazy with it.
just the constant diving and complaining from them over the last couple of years. Like a team that's coached by Rod Brendamore should not be playing this way, but they do. And again, like I just don't respect diving in the game
Yeah,
whatsoever.
that's fair.
Um, like a Vegas
There's a
Carolina
difference
final
between
would
selling a
be
call and diving.
yeah,
There's a clear difference.
absolutely. But like a Vegas Carolina final like very entertaining. Two teams that have really kind of specialized in shutting down other teams and great forecheck, physical game. Like it would be very entertaining, and I would enjoy it. I wouldn't like it because the outcome would suck either way, but in terms of the hockey we would get, like it would be it would be awesome. Like it would
It's a
be
great
it's a great
scheme
matchup. Yeah.
matchup. Yeah.
Yeah. Montreal did have a chance to win in overtime, though. Nick Suzuki caught a great pass from Lane Hudson up the middle, got a breakaway, but didn't even get a shot on goal. And you can't have that in overtime when you're
Especially when
going
you
into
haven't
overtime
had a
with only
shot.
12 shots.
They didn't have a shot since 10 minutes left in the third. And your captain gets a breakaway in overtime and doesn't even get one off. Like, oh, that's
It's
tough.
just,
Like,
yeah.
man,
Montreal's still in this, though, somehow.
the
When you
series is
look at the
only
stats, it's
2-1.
like they
I'm pretty
they
sure they were
shouldn't
down
be,
in
but
both other series at a point. I don't think that's right at
I don't
all.
think I don't think they
I
were
don't think
ever.
I don't think Tampa
Yeah,
ever led them. Um,
I don't think. Oh, Buffalo did after game one,
yeah,
but then that was it.
like we've seen them come back before. I mean, they were the cardiac kids this season. Just every time they were losing a game, they would snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Like that was
Yeah,
like their calling card the regular season. Um, they've been outplayed the last 2 games. They also got it to overtime.
both games. Yeah,
All it takes is a different bounce, and the series is 2-1 for Habs. Like
yep.
they they are absolutely still in this. It sure a lot more than the Avalanche are right now, but they can't
Yeah.
they can't rely on Dobesh to just keep stealing games for them. They gotta make it happen.
hmm Yeah, and I mean, especially you got to feel good for like if you're Carolina, especially when you look in overtime. Like it's your big dogs showing up too.
Yeah,
Ehlers a phenomenal shot, and then
both of his
Svechnikov.
goals. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the big dogs are showing up for Carolina, and that's something that when you look, especially kind of a team like Colorado, you're not fully getting that. But also Carolina, you haven't been getting that in the conference final the last however many years. You get to the
Several.
conference final, and it's like your top players are just you know like gone. They just vanish, and they're showing up this year, and
I
that's
don't
it's the biggest difference maker for them. I feel like.
I don't know if it would this stat because I heard about this stat. I don't know if this is not counting this year's playoffs at all, or if it counts game one. It might count game one. of this series. But did you hear the stat about their last 18 games in the conference finals?
I don't believe so. No.
They were 1-17 in their last 18 conference final games, either from the start of this series
Oof.
or after game one. Because I'm pretty sure it was last year they took one game out of Florida. And then the 3 years before that, they had been swept
They've been swept. Yeah.
whenever they make the conference final. Like, they've already, with this core, like, remember when Toronto got out of the first round and everyone was like, all right, like, this is the new benchmark. They beat the boss. They have a new checkpoint. This is a new personal best.
Hmm.
We're already at that point with the Hurricanes. They've got 2 wins
Yeah.
in the Eastern Conference Final. That's the farthest this team has made it in a long time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they're already starting to push through on those past demons. And you know, when you have demons like some of these teams just seem to have that come out of nowhere, overtime is a lot of the time where those teams end up losing it. It really gets in their head and some shitty bounce ends up going in, but they're
Hmm.
winning those games, and
They are. Absolutely.
we might finally be seeing the change of the guard over there.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously the way closer series. This one is still completely up for grabs. But yeah, I mean, right now Montreal's just got to find a way to get more shots on net, even if it's shitty perimeter shots. Just get stuff on net. Try and get some rebounds. Get bodies in front. Go for deflections. Go for whatever.
Freddie
Create
Anderson's probably
chaos.
pretty cold.
Yeah, like again, bad calls by the refs, missed calls, sure, whatever. But at the end of the day,
They're going both
you're
ways
you're
too.
you're not winning games if you're getting tripled in shots. Like that's just the reality of it. And if you do, you probably don't deserve to win the cup anyways. Like
That
that's
it's If you do, congrats. That was lucky. You can't plan to win a series, multiple
yeah,
series through that. Like
yeah,
they're lucky they're still in the playoffs the way they got 9 shots in a game 7 against Tampa and they just ended up winning that game.
yeah.
And they got beat up on in a couple of games by
They
the
were
Sabres where they ended
the
up winning
worst.
because they just got it.
They were the worst team in both of their game sevens. Yet they came out on top.
That's crazy.
And
And
I think that luck is starting to finally run out. And you need your 50 goal guy Cole Caulfield to start lighting it up. I mean, Lane Hudson has been fantastic all playoffs. Just more than anything,
right.
just don't make any more turnovers. Just please, just
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. Just not those turnovers.
Shout out to
But
Svechnikov. That was a heads up play. He saw that was a floaty pass. He turned around and walked into the zone without hesitation. There's a lot of
Yeah.
players who I think would have turned around, grabbed it. They would have passed the blue line and waited for like a winger to go up the sides and just made a pass. He grabbed that and just went
Yeah.
straight up the middle, just attacked the defenseman and just skated through him to get that first shot, which eventually got
Yeah.
cycled around and then went in the net. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was a heads up play by him, and
A very, very smart play. And it's stuff like Montreal can do that themselves. They can push back. They can beat Carolina. But again, if
the
you're
Hurricanes aren't putting those passes up the middle. Like they're
yeah,
not giving you the opportunity the way you're giving it to them.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
maybe
think
that's
this
just an
series
experience thing.
is far from over. But yeah, I think right now it's definitely the experience of the Carolina Hurricanes is what's really propelled them to be in the driver's seat
Yeah.
here. And well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I actually don't know the question to this. You might have already said it. Who are you cheering for in the series? Just personally.
I start so many fights on Twitter with both fan bases that it's very tough. That's why this was like the worst Eastern Conference final matchup because it's like, man, I've started shit with both of these fan bases.
That's fair.
It really pisses me off because like my whole thing for cheering for Colorado was, want to see Brent Burns get that ring, right? And
Yeah,
it kind of
that's
sucks
why I
being
was
like
cheering for him.
Carolina might get to the cup final now the year after Burns leaves. Like that would really fucking suck. But I like Montreal more than Carolina, but I'm pulling for Carolina because I think Carolina makes for the most interesting cup final. Whether
Right.
it's against Vegas, who is most likely going to be, or Colorado if they pull off a miracle. I think Carolina offers the most entertaining series. Maybe not the most entertaining hockey necessarily, but I think the series will be more entertaining as a whole with Carolina there. So
That's fair.
I think I'm pulling for Carolina just because if I'm going to hate the teams in the cup final, at least let it be enjoyable to some extent.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
What about you?
I'm
You're,
I'm cheering for Carolina just because they have a couple of players that I do like. Seth Jarvis is a very difficult player to not enjoy. Like
yeah,
he's one of those guys that, man, I would kill to have on my team. Um, they got they got some fun players. They got guys like Slavin, Freddie Anderson's a great
Freddie
story.
Anderson.
Um,
Could you
and
imagine that?
just straight up the fact that the Canadians are going to be great for a long time. All these
It
young,
is also
their
true.
core is so young. They're all locked up. The AAV is ridiculous. Like they're going to be just fine. And frankly,
Yeah.
so are the Canes. But the Canes have been trying at it way longer. Like the Habs can win in any of the next 8 years.
10 years. Could you imagine a cup final of um well I mean but because there's a very good chance it does happen, but a cup final of Vegas and Carolina. Mitch Marner versus Freddie Anderson, the two guys that kind of got the most blame throughout Toronto's recent struggles and uh,
Well,
kind
so
of thrown out by them to now be the two
the
guys facing in the
the Conn
Stanley Cup
Smythe front
final.
runners for both teams.
Yep.
Like legitimately. Like Freddie Anderson's betting odds are probably a bit lower after that first game, but the Habs, I guess, haven't been getting enough shots that his save percentage probably looks decent in the last two, but he's still been lights out for him. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's Mitch Marner on the team he's on versus the team he could have gotten traded to. It's
Yeah.
Mitch Marner versus Freddie Anderson, two guys that Toronto had to ship out because they just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. Like, oh,
Mhm. It
oh,
would make for a lot of
maybe they
help
deserve
relief.
maybe they deserve first overall, guys. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. They get kicked in the nuts a lot. And
Yeah.
everyone cheers every time it happens.
Yeah.
Uh
Um,
insane timeline.
but that's where we're at in the playoffs here. I guess we'll see come Friday what
Please, Avs,
where we're
give
at
us
again.
something to talk about in the Western
Y-
Conference Final.
Yeah.
You dog walked the Minnesota Wild. Come on.
Just
Like,
give us something at least.
even if McKinnon and McCarr both sat for the entire series, didn't play a second, this team is too good. It is unacceptable for them to get swept.
Yeah,
At
absolutely.
the bar being lose in five, even without those guys, would be absolutely fair. Take a game, take two. Like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah, you got
like
to.
man, we don't see the reverse sweeps often, but this is a team that is good enough. If they kick into that gear, they can do it.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching hockey full time since what a reverse sweep has happened, and I want to see one. I want to see
Dude,
a reverse
I
sweep.
can tell you right now, they fucking suck. They absolutely blow. I've only ever seen one, and let me tell you, man, it's not fun. It's not cool. It's the absolute worst thing in the game.
I
So
actually don't like. I don't. I know the series you're referring to, but I wasn't like watching when it happened. Was that like an overall team comeback thing, or was it like just Jonathan Quick?
bit of both, and also just kind of the Sharks being the Sharks in the playoffs, just imploding as well. It was kind of like just a switch flipped, and
Right. Was that the
yeah,
Quick Conn Smythe year, or was that the who won the other one?
yes,
Justin Williams,
yes.
Dustin Brown.
No, that actually no, that wouldn't have been that wouldn't That was their second cup. Let me see here.
So 2014.
Yeah. So no,
Who
it,
won the
it
Conn
wouldn't
Smythe in
it wouldn't have been
2014?
Quick.
It
Quick
was
was their
Justin Williams.
first one. It was Justin Williams. I was gonna say Quick. Yeah, Quick was the first.
I was kind of thinking it was Williams, but I couldn't remember if like Dustin Brown won it, or was Dustin Brown the captain of the team at the time?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, I would love to see a reverse sweep that I can actually enjoy. So if Colorado wants to do that, yeah, that'd be pretty
Man,
sick.
it'd be cool. I was so excited. It's years removed now, but man, I was excited to see Edmonton reverse sweep Florida. Like, if that's how McDavid got his first cup, a reverse sweep in the cup final, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
would have
Man,
been.
that would have been box office. He would have had a movie come out about it already.
Oh yeah,
Would have been so
yeah.
good.
But that's where we're at in the playoffs. Before we get into our closing stuff here, Braden, you wanted to talk a bit about the upcoming draft.
Yeah, we don't have basically any news outside of just what's happening in the playoffs, and like we've been saying for the last almost hour, the Avs haven't given us a ton to talk about over there, and you can only talk about it for so long. So let's do a little bit of an update on what's going into the draft. There's been a lot of talk about different teams valuing different guys, and frankly, I'm hearing so many different things. I have no idea how this draft is going to go.
Yeah,
Like,
I really don't. You know, I'm assuming that that Gavin McKenna will go first overall because again, I think he's still the most likely to.
I do think
Um,
he's going to go first because Toronto
the
has him.
yeah, the draft
Uh,
really kind of starts at 2, and that's kind of the way it's been the last couple of years, but especially this year, just because of how much ripple effect I feel like it can kind of have
right. Well,
throughout
you're
some
the
other
Sharks
teams.
fan. I'm just going to ask you, who do you think they take at second?
I think
And
they
this can
probably still
change
go
week to week.
Stenberg. You know, I understand a lot of people wanting to, go the route of drafting a right-handed defenseman, which is a huge need for them. But I do always kind of believe you got to go best player available, and scouts
Big
are kind of
believer in
all
that.
over the place, and view players differently. But I think overall, in terms of just the top end skill, Stenberg would be the best player available and the most complete player. So I think you got to do that, and then that
That's fair.
leaves teams like Vancouver and Chicago in interesting spots who both are kind of looking for a forward, but you get into that spot where it's going to be a lot of defensemen in that mix.
Your Keaton Verhoffs, your Chase Reeds,
Carson
Carson Carrolls.
Carrolls, Albert Smiths, Vancouver probably takes Caleb Malhotra, especially if they're about to, announce his father, Manny Malhotra, as their coach. I think that's just the way it's going to go for them, unless Stenberg's available. Like if San Jose goes defenseman, maybe different, but Vancouver
Yeah.
probably takes Malhotra. So then you're Chicago, and once again you're not drafting another defenseman. So then you're Chicago. Then it comes down to what do you do? Do you reach on a player? Do you just completely trade the pick away for a player now? Trade down, like that puts them in a really tough spot too.
Yeah. Just to touch on the Sharks for a second again. I agree. I think they would go Stenberg second, assuming McKenna obviously goes first. And a lot of people are very critical of that idea because they need good defensemen. And the biggest reason so many people are saying that is because, well, they already got Celebrini, they already got Will Smith, like they already got Michael Misa, like they're set up front.
Like,
Sure,
yeah,
great players, and they have a number of them, but what are these teams we look at and who are some of the most constantly criticized teams over the last 5 years of how they're managed. Like teams that aren't able to do what they want to do. Teams like Toronto, who they've got Mitch Marner back then, obviously. Great player. They got Austin Matthews, awesome. William Nylander, great. Tavares, I guess, he's starting to fall off, but he's still producing pretty well. But they don't have a ton of guys. He's outside of some of those bigger guns, Edmonton. If McDavid and Draisaitl aren't carrying them to the promised land, they ain't getting there. Like, it takes more than that. And yeah, they have a good forward core building right now. Gets a lot fucking better if you add an Ivan Stenberg on top of that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously,
Not
defense
only,
is also important, but like,
yeah,
fuck, an elite player is an elite player. That gives you scoring throughout the lineup.
and especially in San Jose's case, over the last few years, I mean, you again, you look at the forwards and Celebrini, Smith, even Chernyshov is a great example from this year. Colin Graf, their ability to develop forwards is very impressive, and not only to develop forwards, but it's getting them to be impactful NHL players.
Right.
The Sharks have struggled to do that with defensemen. A lot of decent prospects in the pipeline for them that look good in juniors, look good at the HL level, but none that have made that true impact at the NHL level yet. And it's been a couple years now. So when you look at it, do you draft a defenseman second overall when you're like, the only way I see them going a defenseman at second overall is if it's a player that is 100% bust proof. And that's not really realistic. There's no prospect that really comes in and is 100% bust proof unless you're a McDavid, a Crosby, those type of players.
I would say Schaefer, but he had the injury. He only played like 17 games in his draft year. So even he was like, ugh, coming off that big injury, who knows? Like, even he wasn't bust proof.
So it's, again, like, going the defenseman is the position that you need, but given their track record of developing defensemen, I'm not on that boat because you've been, you're already, 4 points out of a playoff spot this year. You've already seen massive improvement from your young players, and then you've been gifted a second overall pick. You cannot fumble this. So I think you take a player in Stenberg who, I would almost say actually, even over McKenna, is the most bust proof.
I think he's the highest floor player in this draft.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment, and
yeah,
I completely agree. I think this is what the best teams do. The best teams build through their strength. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like a team like Carolina, they're so good at developing defensemen, and they keep making more good defensemen, and then they'll trade some out for good forwards, and they'll make more good defensemen, and they'll trade them out to fill out the roster. Like,
yeah,
I think it's smarter for them to just get more forwards. And you know what? If they have so many great forwards and not enough defensemen, then you can just trade those guys for already very good defensemen in the NHL, and then you don't have to worry about developing them as much.
Well, because you look at recent Stanley Cup winners, right? And or even teams in the Final Four. Like people want the Cale Makars on their team, the Quinn Hughes and whatnot, the Darlene Zarenskis. Like,
right?
It's hard to find those guys, but look at Montreal. I mean, they traded their top pair. They traded Fernando Dobson. They drafted Lane Hudson in the second round. Colorado, yeah, sure, they have Makar. Okay. Vegas, all their defensemen they've been able to go out and acquire through trades pretty much. Carolina, I don't think they have a defenseman on their roster that was a first round pick, I believe.
Was Gostisbehere a first round pick?
No,
I know he was a prolific rookie, but
I think he was a third round pick.
I think Nikishin was a second. I think you might be right about that.
Yeah. And so These like defensemen become available for trades all the time, but those high level ones, yeah, probably not. But Florida, I mean, you have Aaron Ekblad, who's a first overall pick, but like he doesn't feel like a first overall pick defenseman, right? But you
The
scouted a guy
same
like
way Owen
Gustav
Power
Forsling,
feels like
who,
he's kind of in that same realm as Owen Power being a first overall
yeah,
pick. It's like
yeah,
pretty
absolutely,
pretty damn good player. Teams would be happy to have him, but you're really hoping that your first overall pick as a defenseman is closer to a Makar, a Quinn
Makar,
Hughes, Dolly, and Schaefer.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. And Gustav Forsling, you found him through, waivers because no one wanted him. You scouted Montour and saw the potential when Buffalo didn't want him. Like you can acquire these top defensemen to win you cups through trades, through waivers, if your pro scouting is good enough. But
yeah,
like those top end forwards are harder to get.
it feels like it's easier to build your decor through trades because
Hmm.
there's always teams trying to tank a little bit or get worse that are trying to sell them off. And you need 6 good defensemen. Obviously, if you want to win the cup, you probably want a little injury insurance, sure.
Yeah.
But like to build a forward core, you need 12 guys. For a D core, you need 6 guys. And frankly, the guys on your bottom pair, you need them to go out there and just be even. You just need them to go out there and not fuck it up. You need 4 really solid defensemen.
Yeah.
You
Well,
get
and
lucky
even
with a draft, you make 2 good trades and a free agent signing, you're most of the way there. Like,
yeah. Well, even you look at, I mean, I think the Sharks are a great example, and they're the ones kind of banging the drum that you got to take a defenseman. You look at a lot of their great defensemen they had. Vlasic's kind of the one exception. But he was even still a second round pick. But you traded for Brent Burns, you traded for Art Carlson, you traded for Dan Boyle, you signed Paul Martin as a free agent. Justin Braun was a seventh round pick or six. You traded for a young Brendan Dillon, among a bunch of others. But it's like there wasn't many defensemen throughout their kind of years with Thornton and Marlowe when they were all in, where it was they were drafting them, developing them up, or whatnot. Like a lot of them was your top end defenseman you were going out and making moves for. It doesn't happen super often, but it is possible. Which is why I think with Chicago, they're the more likely team to trade down. And again, top 5 picks usually don't get moved, but I think Chicago's more likely when you look at you could get a little bit more value. You could just straight up trade that pick, throw it
yeah,
out there to Toronto and be like, hey, would you trade Nylander for the 4th overall pick? And then you can get Gavin McKenna, and maybe you could get, Chase Reed or Keaton Verhoff, and that's your forward and your defense and you build around. Like maybe something like that because you got to get Bedard immediate help.
yeah.
And so that could be a very interesting thing for them. Or you go the route of maybe you trade back to you call up Winnipeg or something and say, hey, what can you offer us if you want to jump up to 4? We'll fall back to 9. We can still grab a forward there and maybe grab a couple other assets. Yeah, I think that could be very intriguing for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what these teams do because there's so many teams that are in different situations in this draft. Like you've got Florida in the top 10. As much as I hate it, that's just the reality
Yeah,
of it.
keep forgetting
They're
about that. Yeah,
they're drafting in the top 10. What the heck? They There's a very good chance they just take the biggest baddest motherfucker who's projected to go in the first round. There's also a very good chance they trade it for an impact player next season. Maybe they trade it for a starting goalie. Uh, Toronto, they're most likely going to take McKenna, but you can't say their situation's not unique. Won the Austin Matthews sweepstakes, 9 years of playoffs, trade out Marner, miss the playoffs once, jump up to first. The Sharks somehow jumping up to first. Like the Canucks are alone in being at that bottom tier. Like I don't think anyone's in as deep of a rebuild as they are right now.
yeah,
Even Chicago, like they should be one of those top picks. We're talking about them trading back because maybe that's the angle they're looking at. Like every one of these teams, like I don't know if Winnipeg would trade up, keep the pick, trade down. They could do any of that. Like all these teams are in such different spots that it makes it hard to predict, which just makes it more fun to look at. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you generally keep a bit better eye on it than I do as far as these prospects go. A little bit closer to the draft now, do you have any players that you think are going to end up becoming a bit of a steal, bit of a hidden gem? Like, do you think guys who might you think might just get drafted later than they should be, guys that most prospect guys have them around like 15 that you think should be in the top 8, something like that? Like, do you have anyone that jumps out to you?
Um, I mean, a big one is Keaton Verhoff. I've seen a lot of scouts have him anywhere from like in their
He's
top
all
3
over.
all the way down to like 15. I'm still pretty high on Keaton Verhoff. I think he's another one of those guys that really kind of struggled from the unrealistic expectations put on him when making the jump to college. But he's still a defenseman that I'm very high on, and I think whatever team gets him is getting an absolute steal. Um,
Do
where
you
who's
think
it?
he's going to be
Carson
the best
Carroll's.
defenseman?
I think it's so tough between all these defensemen because I feel like they all kind of are just a little bit different enough that it's hard to say, and especially in terms of like what you value,
Right.
right? But there's definitely the potential, like absolutely, for him to be. And I think with a lot of these defensemen, it really a big thing could be just where they go. Um,
That's fair.
like the Rangers are picking at 5. That could be a very tough spot for any defenseman to go.
That's got to be
Even
such
any
a
forward, like
polarizing
that could
spot.
be.
There's probably quite a few like Canadian prospects who are like, I don't really care about going to live in New York as much as maybe some American players or other players would. Like some players
Mhm.
would love to go there. There's probably some prospects going, their team's not looking great right now. Their track record with prospects isn't great. Maybe I'd rather stay away. Like,
Yeah. Even a team like Calgary at 6, I don't think they will. But if they take a Chase Reed or a Keaton Verhoff, are those guys going to reach their ceilings being behind a Zane Perek? Probably not. So a big thing will depend for a lot of these guys is where they go. I'm very curious to see where Ethan Belchez goes. He was the first ever prospect we actually discussed on this podcast back when he was drafted into the OHL, but already 18 years old, 6'5", 227, just a solid power forward. Not the best production this year with Windsor, only 59 points in 57 games in his draft year, but is making the jump to Michigan, I believe. I think I could be wrong, but
sounds right.
um, yeah, I just think there's a lot of, to me, it really kind of feels like there's going to be that kind of like, you know, top 3. And I think there will be the 3 forwards and McKenna, Stenberg, Malhotra. A lot of defensemen. And then there's still a lot of interesting forwards. Vigo Bjork,
Tynan
Tynan
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
I'm seeing
He's
him
fallen a
everywhere.
bit.
I
Yeah.
so I have the consolidated ranking so that on Elite Prospects up. So that kind of takes every other ranking, official ranking they have on here and combines them for the average placements. And it has Tynan Lawrence at 7th overall. I was just clicking through before we started this, looking at some of the other ones, Sportsnets, looking at Kennedy's, Craig Buttons, a bunch of those. There was
Mhm.
multiple that had him in the 20s. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
his average is up to 7 when there's a couple people who have him so low. He could
I'm
go
so far
anywhere.
down.
Like,
Yeah.
that's going to be crazy. Um, Ethan Belche, it's funny that you bring him up because he's a guy I'm just like already beginning to dislike because I cannot shake this feeling this guy's going to go to Florida. He's going to be that
If
pick.
if Florida holds on to their pick and he's available, it's
He's
it's
right
very
in that
possible.
area.
I think unless
Consolidated
one of
rankings
those
has him
top
8th overall.
defensemen slide down to Florida, then I
Yeah.
think they might go defenseman. Um, but who knows?
Frankly, they probably should. They've got their forward core locked up long term. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very interested to see where this one goes. There's a lot of great players, and there's a lot of potential for movement. We say that every other year, and not often do we get a ton of that movement, but I don't know. Teams are getting more desperate. Like, we've never seen the
Yeah.
NHL be this competitive. Generally,
Yeah,
there's
no.
generally there's at least like 8 teams going into a rebuild at any given time. We've got like
Mhm.
3, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, there's everyone wants to be winning. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's gonna be
And
it's gonna be
especially where
really
the
interesting.
cap's going up, the free agent pool doesn't look like it's gonna be that great. So if you want to get, impact players or improve your team, a lot of it's gonna kind of have to be through trades. Like this has potential to be a very, very busy offseason and a lot of activity, which is always fun for hockey fans. It's fun for us. It gives us lots of stuff to talk about and speculate about. So yeah, could be very fun this offseason.
Um, with the
Anything else
all
from the draft you want to look at?
I was gonna say, I think that's about it. I'm looking to see where the first goalie is. Just do a little goalie scouting on here. As far as I can tell, I believe the first goalie is Tobias Treball. I think it would be how you pronounce that. At 42.
And so usually first goalie goes around like mid second round, so that checks out.
Do you think we ever get a first overall goalie again?
No.
It's happened to quite a few times in the past. I believe the last one was Marc-Andre Fleury. Not even long before that, we had Di Pietro. Like,
Yeah, I think those days are done.
I think so too, and I hate it. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. I'd love to be proven wrong, but yeah, really don't
I would love to
don't
see
see
a
it.
kid come up and have like that Bedard level of hype, but be a goalie. Like, which is just like so hard to imagine, right? Because
Hmm.
they can't go out there and own a game. They have to wait for the game to come to them and then take it over. But
Yeah.
it's a it's a
Yeah, it
fun idea, and I
feels
hope we get to see one some point in the next few
it
years.
would be fun. Absolutely. Um but we are now into the closing segment of the episode. As always, everybody knows we love to wrap things up around these parts with a fun game. Brayden, for you today, we've got a this or that, but this is a little bit of a different this or that. I've got multiple rounds we'll go through. You'll have 2 options to pick from, and you are picking which one you think has generated more Google searches from hockey fans. So you have
Ooh,
option A or B, and you got to decide what you think is getting searched more on Google.
that's
Pretty
fun. I
simple.
like that.
You at home, everybody at home can also play along as you're picking option A or B.
I feel like I've got a good I feel like I'll have a decent grasp on this. I know what a lot of fan bases look for. I'm a very big hockey Googler myself. My Google history is at least got to be like 70% uh looking up players, go just re-googling hockey DB to get there. Like, I feel like I could do well at this.
We'll see. The first one I've got here for you is the Detroit Red Wings or the Boston Bruins.
Interesting. Um More people hate the Bruins, and the Bruins have had more success recently. So I think Bruins fans would be vanity searching themselves more. I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins.
It is the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, do you
Detroit
got the
Red
figures? You
Wings.
got the numbers?
No, it doesn't tell you the numbers. It
Okay.
just tells you what
Do you know
gets
the time frame at all?
more
Is it like the
searches.
last year, last month?
No.
Just more Google searches in a
Yeah.
I assume it's
I
some
assume it's
recent.
usually like within like the last 5 years kind of thing. They try to
Yeah.
keep it up to date and
Yeah,
somewhat
like there's
current.
no way they're like the last 10 years of Google searches, but
Yeah,
it might be the last whatever time frame.
yeah. Now we'll get into the real meat and potatoes here. Next up, we have Connor Bedard or Sidney Crosby's jockstrap. For those unfamiliar, Sidney Crosby's jockstrap is always hanging on by a thread.
It
Same one he's used
it
since
has
juniors.
This is a hilarious question. It has to be Connor Bedard, man. He has so much hype. There's no way people are specifically looking the jockstrap more than Bedard just in general. It's got to be Bedard.
You're going Connor Bedard?
I'm going Bedard.
You would be
I'm okay.
correct. It is Connor
Oh, okay.
Bedard.
I was gonna say I have to go with Bedard because I'm gonna feel like an idiot if I get it wrong the other way. If it was the jockstrap, it would just be funny. Like that'd be fair.
Next up, this is always a fun debate between fans. We have Patrick Kane or Evgeny Malkin.
Patrick Kane. He's Showtime. Malkin's not even in the top 100.
You're right. It is Showtime Patrick Kane.
They snubbed the hell out of him, man. Malkin, over a point per
Next,
game this year, still underrated.
yeah. Next one here, Austin Matthews mustache or the Arizona Coyotes.
Who? I mean, mustache is specific, but like, who's googling the Coyotes?
I still look up a lot of Coyotes stuff. I miss them.
I guess. I guess Toronto's management. They're probably looking up both of these. Give me
That
Matthews' mustache.
you would be right. It is Austin Matthews mustache gets more searches, more clicks than the Arizona
That's
Coyotes.
crazy. I just picked it because it was funnier. I didn't really think it was gonna work. That's crazy.
This is a really fun one. Bouchard goal or Bouchard turnover?
That's what an awesome question. That's great. Holy. Did Bouchard have any massive goals at the Olympics?
He wasn't even at the Olympics.
Oh, right. He wasn't at the Olympics. Turnover.
You would be right. Bouchard turnover gets more searches than Bouchard goal.
I was genuinely trying to think if he had a big goal at the Olympics. Completely forgot he didn't even go. I don't know how I forgot about that.
Next up, I'm going to call this the icy round. We have the Utah Mammoth or Brad Marchand ice cream.
Jesus Christ. I mean, one's an entire team, though. Brad Marchand ice cream. I would be looking up Brad Marchand Dairy Queen or Blizzard before that, I think. So assuming they're not just like lumping all that together, I'm gonna go Utah.
You'd be wrong. It is Brad Marchand ice cream.
He was going ham with the ice
He
cream.
was going fucking ham with the ice cream. Gritty or Easton Hockey, referring to the Easton brand.
Right.
Oh, Easton Synergy.
Is Easton even one of the biggest brands anymore? It was always like one of my
I
favorite
agree
brands.
with
I always loved it, but like
round much. Easton V90, fucking great stick.
I still
Stick.
remember just the synergy Easton sticks just having so much aura. People were just
Yeah, they
like,
still
this thing
do.
is so sick.
They
They were so
still
good.
do, honestly.
I gotta go with Gritty though. Gritty's so funny.
It is in fact gritty.
Good. As it should be.
We've got two more here. Joe Thornton beard or Brent Burns beard?
Son of a bitch.
Battle of the beards.
Two all-timer beards, like Mount Rushmore beards. It's gotta be Joe Thornton, though. If it's more recent, though, I mean, Brent Burns is like still playing, which would help him. No, Joe Thornton's beard is really good. I'm gonna go with Joe Thornton. It looks insane when he's in a suit.
It is Brent Burns' beard.
Oh, he got
I know, I was
the
kind of surprised
Colorado
by
bump
that
this
one.
year.
Yeah, he sure did. And the last one we got here, Ryan Reeves goal or Mitch Marner fight?
That's really interesting. So obviously, way more people are talking about Marner in general, but I don't think like Marner does he even have a fight? I don't think so. So like, I think it would just be people like googling it, like, has he gotten one? Let's find out. Ryan Reeves scores some goals, not a lot, but some, and it's generally pretty funny when he does, especially when he beats him left side and just tucks it for no reason. Who was that against the Ducks?
Ducks,
Just
yeah.
rinsed him earlier this year.
Home opener.
I would say I don't know why I remember that, but I remember it being sick. I'm gonna go Ryan Reeves goal.
You would be correct. Ryan Reeves' goal. And it's mostly due to Mitch Marner doesn't have any notable fights, so there's people really
I
don't
want to
look
say
it up
I
much.
don't even think he has a fight in the NHL that I know of,
I
but
don't think
like
so, yeah.
it was like even if I could think of a moment where like he kind of got in a fight and like basically just got mugged by somebody, like maybe it would be closer, but it was
Yeah,
mostly just
Ryan,
people
Ryan
looking
Reeves'
just to
goal.
see.
So you did pretty well across those, though. I think you were, because what I have there, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
It's
9. So I think you
like
still got over
5 for 9,
50%. Yeah, I
something
think
like
you,
that.
yeah, yeah. And as we were going through these, I started to come up with more. So maybe we'll run this back at some point sooner, because I thought of a couple other ones that
I
I
was gonna
think would
say
be
that was
pretty
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 good.
entertaining.
You need the right questions in there, but I really like that.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good
had to
one.
start off simple with Detroit, Boston, and then we're getting right into the jock straps, the mustaches, the ice cream,
Yeah,
all the good, and of course gritty. The surprising one was the Bouchard turnover over Bouchard goal.
that's such a funny question. Like that rocks. That's
That's
good.
so goes so hard, right? Um, but we are at the end of the episode. As always, we do
Turnover
want to
is a
thank.
very specific word too.
Well,
For
because I
people to be putting
started
that in
with
more than goal.
I started
Like,
with Bouchard meme, but apparently that's not a big thing on Google. Apparently. I thought it would have been. So then I had to kind of pivot, and I was like turnover, yeah, turnover words, like a lot of bad
I mean,
turnovers.
there's got to be more than turnover than like defensive breakdown or some shit. You know, Evan
Yeah,
Bouchard liability. Like people aren't really googling that.
yeah, yeah. Got to
I like
keep
that.
it kind of specific, but also somewhat kind of broad that
The way people will
most
just
people
put
would
in
gravitate
guy's
towards.
name and then one other term. You know,
Yeah,
Mitch Marner trade. You know,
yeah. Fight, goal, yeah, turnover,
highlights,
mustache, ice cream, like
jockstrap.
jockstrap, and all that fun shit. Um,
Do you know which was higher between Sidney Crosby jockstrap and Brad Marchand ice cream?
ooh, let's see.
Battle of the
What do you
Goats.
think?
I mean, I would want to say Crosby's jockstrap, but that one lost in the ice cream one. I'm gonna go the jockstrap though, because it was against Bedard. Bedard's got to have
Sidney
a one.
Cros Sidney Crosby's jockstrap
It
is
is
the
higher.
winner. It is the
Huge.
winner. It is the winner. Which means that so Sidney Crosby's jockstrap gets quite a bit more than the Utah Mammoth even. But Utah Mammoth are relatively new, so maybe
It is
they're
still an
not the
entire
best star, but
franchise. That is
it is
really
still an
funny.
entire
People are looking up
franchise.
Marchand ice cream and Crosby's jockstrap more than the team so far.
Yeah, that is actually pretty wild. Um, but we are at the
The
end of the
the
episode.
Zamet's gonna do huge numbers.
The Mamboni. I might
Mamboni.
include the Mamboni in the next one. Zameth or Mamboni. That could be a good one.
Mamboni or John Scott All-Star game.
That was one of the ones I was thinking of when we were going through. I was like, fuck, something with John Scott would go pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you never know with John Scott.
That honestly,
Um,
you could do ones where it's like, uh Radko Gudas knee versus Sam Bennett elbow. Some shit like that.
Ooh, just some
Like,
goon edition, gooner edition.
random stuff like that.
I could come up with some good ones there too.
Shea Weber slap shot versus Patrick Kane breakaway shootout deke, something like that. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do in there.
Yeah. But we are at the end of the episode here. We do want to thank all of you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. If you want to talk hockey, let us know your thoughts on everything going on in the playoffs, potentially the draft, or anything we may have missed. You can do so at the end of our socials. They are all linked down below or over on YouTube as well in the comments or community tab as always. Braden, tonight might be the end for the Colorado Avalanche. We're hoping for a reverse sweep, but we will know where that stands tonight. But before we wrap this episode up, as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Mainly, you're definitely not going to want to miss Game 4 in the Hurricanes Canadian series, because that series has been, despite a lot of the advanced stats favoring the Canes heavily, the last two games both went to overtime regardless. So it's been a close series, and definitely check that out. I don't think tonight is the end. I'm saying it right now. I don't think it's the end for the Avalanche. This team is, they haven't been playing it lately. They are simply too good to just get swept after what they've done this year and in the first two rounds. It's tough. It's tough after the first two games and then the collapse in the third, but there's no way they get swept, right? That's ridiculous.
No, they're going to win in 7.
I'd love to see it. And it has
Colorado
to start
in 7. Yeah, most has to. Absolutely.
Colorado in
There's
7.
no other option. But that is it for this episode. One final time. We hope you'll enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you lovely people out on the ice later this week.